All right, welcome back to FAWKES News, Fox News. Today covering real quick the United Healthcare assassination. Was this guy a vigilante? Some will say, and it's really strange how many people are actually taking this guy's back on this as a vigilante. I think that's strange. I personally don't think that there is. I think you let the justice system play it out. I also understand the frustrations because the insurance companies are one of the most vile style of running businesses that you can possibly find. I mean, and this guy in particular, the CEO of United Healthcare, they're under a litany of issues right now. So I don't even want to go into all of them, but they had a software attack. I've got some stuff from CBS News up on the screen for those people who are watching this on YouTube. They've had software attacks, lots of protests, lawsuits, insider trading accusations. Matter of fact, Brian Thompson here, a federal lawsuit filed in May by the City of Hollywood Firefighters Pension Fund alleges months before learning of a U.S. Department of Justice's 2022 antitrust investigation about its acquisition of Change Healthcare, Thompson sold over $15 million of his personal held United Healthcare shares. The suit also alleges that the United Health Group chairman, Stephen Hemsley, sold over $102 million. So just before this accusation comes out of this bombshell report, this antitrust investigation, this guy, Brian Thompson, goes ahead and sheds $15 million of his shares, knowing that it's coming down the pipe, that he's got some trouble coming down. But in July, protests at the company's Minnetonka headquarters led to 11 arrests. So if you're just all new to this, there's a video out there. You can see this video. It's of a man, an unknown gunman, who goes in front of not the hotel that he was staying at, but a hotel across from there, where he's walking into a meeting in the early morning hours of Thursday. And so this figure with a gray backpack that's kind of identified as a Peak photography bag, ranges about, I don't know, 200 and how much are these bags?
Well, if you go to buy one right now, they're on sale for $251. Normally they're $280. These are not cheap bags.
Yeah, $280 bag. So the gunman here, some people think maybe it's an assassin. Now, listen, I could point out a litany of things here that's wrong. That this guy is not a professional. The way that he points his gun, he does what's called the what do you call that in the firearm training? There was a name for it when you
muscle memory.
No, where you kind of like you do this motion. I forgot. It's like maybe like swinging a hammer. Whereas a trained professional will punch the gun straight out, but he's doing the hammer.
Axe.
Yeah, like kind of like hatcheting the gun out. Like that's not what a professional shoots. In law enforcement, I think that's what we called it. I think it was called swinging the hammer. I don't know. There's probably another name for it, but then he's using what appears to me to be like maybe subsonic rounds that don't make a lot of noise. He's got some kind of a suppressive device on the front of the weapon there, and so the gun is not able to recoil like the way it's supposed to, and so he's having to fire the gun. It's not discharging the round, so he's having to rack it back to expel the round and to put a new round down in the chamber, and he does this 3 times. So trained assassin, I don't think so. I think more of what this is somebody who's extremely disgusted with an insurance company who, if you take a look at this, has the highest claim denial rate by an insurance company. So you got Kaiser Permanente at 7%. You can scroll down to Athena at 20% denial rate. And then you go all the way to United Healthcare, all the way down 32% denial rate. Also, if 40% of bankruptcies are due to medical bills. Insurance companies never want to pay out. I had a tree fall down on my roof of my house. Insurance decided not to cover it because I didn't pay an agree to rate form. But in North Carolina, agree to rate forms don't have to be signed if the rate is lower than the rate you're currently paying. But the insurance company is based out of Washington, D.C., and so they say, well, where we're at, the law is you have to sign it, and you didn't sign it, but they gave me no warning. this is an insurance company that literally sends me a text on my birthday saying happy birthday, but they never texted to inform me that my house didn't have any homeowners insurance for over a year. I didn't even know that could happen. So anyway, at the end of the day, a roofing company, I'll never forget them, Scrooge Roofing. They went back and forth with the insurance company. He felt so bad for me that he, because I was a police officer at the time, he ended up funding the entire project. The Scrooge Roofing Company put a new roof on my house because they were discussing how the insurance company. But I'm a guy who's paid his bills on time, all the time. I've never missed my payments. I've always been up on my insurance. But every time I've needed to use my insurance, I've always been dicked around or joshed around. We're seeing that in Western North Carolina right now with a lot of houses. So insurance companies have a history of screwing people. So it would not surprise me if they screwed with the wrong guy in this situation. It really looks to me like this is more of a vigilante thing than it is some kind of a paid hit job. Although I know Josh is going to want to get into it because I think he's on the paid hit job because of maybe some conspiracy stuff out there, and we'll go into it. Now, one thing that's also strange, or what leads me down the vigilante field here, is that on the shell casings, he wrote with a magic marker, delay on one round, on another round, deny, and on another round, defend. He wrote that on 3 bullets, 3 rounds. Josh, you coming from law enforcement as well. When we shoot, how many times do we practice shooting a target in one setting? Like you're going to engage a target. The target pops up in front of you. How many rounds do you put in that target?
Enough to stop the threat normally is what we do, but we shoot at least 2 to 3 rounds. Then you're going to assess the target, see if you need to drop some more rounds. Then you drop some more rounds afterwards.
Typically, I think the typical answer there is 2 in the chest, 1 in the head is probably it's probably what most departments train for, right? We're going to show you the target. You're going to put 2 rounds into the chest and 1 round to the head. We hear that on the range every time. Is that correct? Is that accurate?
We were always taught center mass, but we also shot 2 in the chest, 1 in the head as well. So it's not something that we did not train. It just wasn't the main, because we looked at it as you got to answer for these rounds in court. So if you're going to shoot center mass, and if you happen to drop 1 in the head because they're falling, so be it.
Fair enough. If you're going to the range, a lot of people, it's pretty common practice. A lot of people practice 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. So for me personally, I think 3 rounds is probably what an amateur like this guy would practice at a range. And so that's why I think that he wrote the 3 rounds: deny, defend, and depose. What that is stemming from is a book. It's a delay, deny, defend. It's why insurance companies don't pay claims and what you can do about it. And it's written by J.M. Feynman. I think this is a man who has absolutely been scorned, and I would love to know the whole story because it really begs to have. Remember the movie John Q? That was a really good vigilante story, or maybe the Boondock Saints. And I think we might have some kind of vigilante story. I'd like to know. Now, the media, the propaganda, big left-wing media is already trying to get ahead of this. They're putting out images of this guy, but now we have this story circulating where there's a picture of the suspect. Now, here's one picture of this suspect here. Here's a different picture of the suspect. We're going to go into the pictures here shortly, but this guy in particular with this green hoodie, this olive drab green hoodie with breast pockets and some kind of a zipper above that, and a lighter green pull string on a cloth hoodie, almost like a canvas style jacket with like a cloth hoodie. Trying to paint the picture for the audio listeners here. But here's what's changed. This guy right here, they have another picture where he goes into the hostel and they say that he removed his mask in order to flirt, but a very smiley flirt. Can you find me the flirt picture for our audio? Just
this was supposed to be there was that one. Let me find it.
Give me the smile one. Just type in the United Healthcare assassin smile. And mainstream media has been running with this all day long, that he's smiling in his picture, and it is weird that he's smiling in his picture. Now, here's the thing about the picture. I don't know that we know he's fine. Maybe we got. Where did we get the flirt? Was that from? Did we do journalism here? Did we go when we talked to the lady? Because nobody's kind of put up where they've gotten that information that he was flirting. Yeah, there's the picture on the thing, right? This is him with that. That's undeniably probably the same guy that is in this picture right here, right? But it actually looks like the same room. Put that one back up, because you can look at the floor there. You can see the same gray patterns in the floor. So in the same building, but he didn't pull his mask down in this picture, or maybe, I don't. Well, maybe it was he pulled it down, smiled, and talked. But you get what I'm saying here? Like, this doesn't look flirty, but they caught him in this picture, and it looks a little flirty. Go to the other picture. Or is he just smiling, being cordial? And is that even the same guy that's right here? I would say the facial structures look pretty different in this. It's hard to tell in these photographs, but there's some more to the photographs too that we've got to talk about. So if this is the suspect of the case that they're thinking about in this United Healthcare assassination, on the way to a meeting, a big John. What was the meeting for, John? Josh?
I believe they were getting ready to depose him because he was supposed to be that was the other, I would say, conspiracy, but that's the other side of this, that they're saying that he was on his way to go interview and depose about the security hack with that having to do with Nancy Pelosi and all the other stuff. So the reason that he was whacked was so he didn't, become a state's witness and start rolling on everybody. Because what part of the which one of the many things that he's potentially be murdered for do you want to go after? Do you want to go after he's a CEO of the company that they deny his stuff? Do you want to go after that he's potentially with insider trading? Do you want to know that he potentially now has dirt on all of these other people and he's going to go talk to the Department of Justice and become an informant for them? Which one of the reasons do you want him to be murdered? I mean, we can just pick one, throw it out there. And if you're any one of those reasons, now you have a potential alibi. I have nothing to do with it. He had a lot of enemies. Look, this guy was getting ready to be deposed. People thought he was going to snitch on him, or look, they denied his claims and his wife got killed. So now instead of taking his anger out and spending time with his wife at the funeral home, they're coming and he's going to assassinate him and put these, write these letters on, or write the words on the rounds that they get ejected, the casing. So I don't know, but what's being put out, the pictures and the video, and then the picture of this guy smiling, you're going to have to get me some way better footage, or you're going to have to get me some way better evidence to show me that those two people are the same people, because the backpack is not the same backpack. The jacket does not look like the same jacket. And if
it's definitely not the same jacket. It's definitely not the same jacket. So if we look at the jacket in this one, we have the peak photography bag here. But if you'll notice on his left breast pocket, there's like a white kind of a tag or a zipper or something like that. But dead center in his chest, there's a white tag. If you look at this picture, that looks like still the same kind of white tag. And over the left breast pocket there, if you look at these pictures, every single one of these pictures has the same white marking in the same exact spot over the left breast, and it has the same zipper pull white tab in dead center of his chest. And if you look at this green jacket here, we have neither. Don't have either one of those. We don't have a tag over the left breast, and we don't have one dead center either. So those alone kind of make me think that that's definitely a different jacket. Obviously, we have a different backpack. This backpack is gray, and in this video, the backpack is black. Now, this is probably a very well planned out getaway. This guy appears to shoot or assassinate the victim here, and we know that he's going after one person because there's a lady just chilling right over there. There was another witness that walked by. He didn't care about the witnesses, but he also didn't target them. He specifically targeted this victim. What is his name again? Charles. I'm sorry. Brian Thompson. I'm sorry. Right. Brian Thompson. So, he's definitely targeting Brian Thompson. And he does have a little bit of gun knowledge, because he knows enough that he's going to have to rack that after he shoots each round. And I'm guessing that's because he's using subsonic rounds.
I'm not too big of a firearms expert to know
not
like the specifics
a firearms
of
expert, but I do know that that can be an issue when you're shooting with suppression and you're not shooting the right rounds for the right gun. Your gun's not set up the right way. It's not going to eject the casing. I spent 8 years in the military, almost 8 years as a cop. So I've got a bunch of gun training, or 7 years as a military, 7 years as a cop. I was in between my 7th and 8th years. I don't know if we're rounding up or not here, but anyway, I got enough time under the trigger. I got my pew right next to me. Always got one. Always carrying, baby. But again, not an expert in subsonic rounds or anything like that. So I apologize, but you can look it up. So yeah, a lot of discrepancies here on this. The suspect, I find funny in this case too that I want to keep an eye on, Josh, is that he came from somewhere between Georgia and New York because he got on a bus that originated out of Atlanta, Georgia. Now they don't know that he got on it. So if they know where he got on a bus and they know that he went to a Starbucks and they know that he threw a Starbucks cup away and we know that he got on a city scooter, one of those little city transit scooters, put his gun in the basket and hauled ass, and we know what hostel he was staying at. How do we know so much about this guy? If you've got a cup from Starbucks that he drank out of, I mean, don't we have DNA there? Or is that not?
Well, here's my question. We know that he came from Georgia. We know where he stayed at. If we know all this stuff, we know a lot more than's being put out to the public. That's what makes me believe this, because if we know that he came from Georgia, I have articles up. We covered this earlier this year. Madison Square Garden kicked people out. They would not let people come in because they were attorneys for another firm that litigated against them. And they went through the directory and pulled all of their pictures off of their directory and put them into their facial recognition technology and said, you can't come into Madison Square Garden because you litigated against us. So if we can use facial recognition to figure out who's going to get tickets and not going to get tickets to go into MSG, NYPD and New York is a surveillance state. You cannot go anywhere and not be on camera. So you'd think you're not going to get me to believe that this is the only angle of this shooting. There's definitely more angles of this. Not only that, you're going to be able to, now you can go back and you can start to reverse pick where this guy was. You can start getting your warrants and start pulling all your other cameras. So I think there's way, way more than they're letting out, and way, way more than they're letting out probably on purpose. And I want to know why.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with the vigilante theory. I know that you are all in on this is a hit job. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens with this. Again, I think it's strange that he's able to get away with this, especially since this is like a nationwide manhunt at this point. It's kind of the biggest news that's out there. We're going to continue to follow it. I think the big things that you got to pay attention to, though, are when the media starts saying that he looks to be flirting. I would like to know where that came from or where that originated. So maybe we'll do some more research into that, because, and again, anytime the media is trying to downplay somebody or poke at them, they're doing it because they have an agenda. They have a reason. You got something for it?
I just had a thought came through my head. This assassination happened, Wednesday?
Thursday.
Thursday. So it's Thursday. We're within 24 hours, right? We know more about this guy in the last 24 hours than we know about the guy that attempted to shoot the next president of the United States. And that happened months ago.
That's a good point. I'll be curious to see what happens when they catch this guy. If they catch this guy, I happen to think that this might end in a suicide. That's the way these cases normally go. Look, if this ends in a suicide, Josh, I'll go with you. Hit job. But I guess time will play it out. Also, we've got the Daniel Penny case. The jury is at this point not a hung jury, but they are still deliberating. They were not able to come back with. They weren't able to
make a decision.
And the judge has ordered them back into the chambers to keep working on it. Because they really don't want to have a hung jury in this case and have a retrial and all those things. So very politicized, very high. But we've covered that on the Failure to Stop podcast. We did an entire breakdown on the entire Daniel Penny case, almost 2 hours long. So you can go back to Failure to Stop podcast, look up the Daniel Penny case and get the entire breakdown. But here we go. That's the news in short over this assassination attempt going on with the United Healthcare assassins. Looks like we're teaming up with some guys in Michigan that we've shot the documentary with. So we got some stuff coming up in January with those guys, just to let you know what's coming down the pipeline. And Pig Latin, seriously funny, true story, is already out for pre-sale. My book doesn't come out till the fall of next year, but it's already up for pre-sale on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Books A Million. It's published through Simon & Schuster. So if you want to go ahead and pre-order my book, muchos gracias for doing that. But it is called Pig Latin, a seriously funny true story, and it is a comedy about my time as a police officer. You can follow us on social media at Fawkes News, Fawkes News. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're an audio listener, if every single audio listener that we have leaves a 5-star rating and review, we will be on the charts as a new podcast. So we beg you, please leave us a 5-star rating and review. G.I. Joe says it the best. Maybe you didn't know about the United Healthcare assassination attempt, but now you do know. And knowing is what? Half the battle. Take us out of here, Josh.